Today on Mike Attempts, we're repairing an old vise. I bought this old broken vise for $5, unaware of just how many problems it had in store for me. It's a powr-kraft by Multitool and was made in Japan, but I'm not sure what year. Let's get started. The screw becomes increasingly harder to turn as the jaws open. It's a simple vise, not much to it. This is my first vise restoration, but I think the slide is supposed to be straight. At some point, the front part of the cast iron base broke off. You can see where it was repaired with a steel plate. However, for some reason the plate thickness is tapered. The clearance at the back and sides of the spindle nut makes me think the gap at the front is way too big. After some welding, the gap is filled in and the nut fits much better. I used the old Miller Thunderbolt that I repaired in a previous video. It's been working great. It's looking a little better after smoothing out the bottom with a grinding wheel. Time to remove the rust and old paint. The slide is twisted and the width is uneven. One side sits fairly flat, but the other side does not. I used this $5 vise restoration as an excuse to buy a 20-ton press. That seems to have evened it up and removed the twist. Next, one of the jaws is missing, so let's see if we can make a replacement. I just happen to have this scrap steel plate with the same thickness. It's a tad warm, so we'll come back to the jaws in a bit. I marked the front of the base so I could remove the excess material from the previous repair. With a little love from a flap disc, it's shaping up quite nicely. Whatever happened to the missing jaw seems to have broken off some of the cast iron behind it. From all of the damage, my guess is that the vise jaws were open and something heavy fell on the sliding jaw, which could have busted the jaw off, bent and twisted the slide, and broke the front of the base. It seems that some of these powr-kraft vices were made in Japan, while others were made in the USA. After some paint, the imperfections are really shining through. I'm going to have to do something about that tapered front piece, and the welding porosity. But I'll tackle that stuff later in the video. Now back to the replacement jaw. It's a little pitted, but that just gives it character. I also cleaned up the other parts on the wire wheel. I applied paste wax to all of the unpainted parts. The carriage bolt for the swivel base lockdown was bent, so I got a new one. The original jaw has shallow cross hatching, so I'm going to attempt something similar on the replacement. I marked up the jaw as a general guide. And used Dremel cutting wheels to score the steel. This is why you always wear safety glasses. Hey, my channel is called Mike Attempts, not Mike Does Everything Perfect. I drilled and countersunk the holes to attach the replacement jaw. One of the pipe jaws is missing too, so I'm going to try to make one of those. Not bad so far, but it's too wide to fit in the hole. Besides the ugly tack welds, I think it looks pretty good. I don't think it's quite done yet, but let's just see if it works any better. Once reassembled, the screw is still harder to turn than it should be. The jaws are touching at the bottom, but not the top, and this tapered gap just looks wrong. Remember this? I guess it does need to be straightened. Also, is this bothering anyone else? 'Cause it's killing me. That should do it. I filled in the broken area behind the jaw the best I could with weld. Then I filled in the low spots with some steel reinforced epoxy putty, sanded it smooth, and sprayed on some paint. I also welded in a small piece of steel to even out the thickness in the front. The screw turns easily now, without any binding. The jaws line up much better now too. Feel free to rate this video, add your comments and questions below, and subscribe for more.